I want you to be honest with yourself for a second. Not with me, just with yourself. There is someone in your life that you know you should move on from, but you haven't. And it's not because you don't understand the situation. You do. You know how they act. You know how they disappear. And you know how inconsistent they are. You've seen it happen more than once. Still thinking about them. Still checking your phone. Still wondering if they will text again. And this is the part that confuses you. If they weren't right for you, why does it feel so hard to let go? Because logically it doesn't make sense. You're not happy, you're not secure, and you're not getting what you actually need. So why are they still in your mind? Why do you still care? Why does it feel like something is unfinished? Here's the truth. You're not stuck because of the person. You're stuck because of how your brain experienced them. Because this was never just a connection. It became a pattern. And that pattern started with attention. Not stable attention, not consistent attention, unpredictable attention. One day they're there, the next day they're distant. Then suddenly, they come back. And every time they come back, it feels good. It feels like relief. Like something you were waiting for finally happened. And in that moment, everything else disappears. You forget the confusion. You forget the distance. You forget how many times you questioned them. Because your brain got what it was waiting for. And that feeling is what keeps you stuck, not them, that feeling. And once your brain connects that feeling to a person, letting go becomes very hard. Because now you're not just missing them, you're waiting for the next moment that makes you feel okay again. Now here's where it gets deeper. At some point, it stopped being about what they did. It became about what you felt when they came back. Think about it. Every time they gave you attention again, it felt like everything was fixed. Like the confusion didn't matter anymore. Like maybe this time it would be different. And for a moment, you believe that. You believe the version of them that only shows up sometimes. The version that listens. The version that cares. The version that makes you feel chosen. But that version was never consistent. It only appeared just enough to keep you from leaving. And that's what most people don't realize. You didn't fall for who they are every day. You fell for who they are occasionally. And your brain started chasing that version. Not the silence, not the distance, not the confusion, only the moments that felt good. And the more you focused on those moments, the more your brain ignored reality. You started justifying things. You told yourself they're just busy. You told yourself they didn't mean it. You told yourself they're going through something, not because it was true, but because it felt better than accepting the truth. Because the truth is simple. If someone wants to be consistent, they will be. If someone values you, you won't have to question it. If someone truly cares, you won't feel confused all the time. But accepting that truth is painful because it means realizing something important. You were holding on to something that was never fully real, so your brain protects you. It keeps the good memories alive. It replays the best moments, and it slowly ignores everything else, because accepting reality means letting go, and letting go feels like losing something important. Even if deep down, you know it wasn't right for you, and that's how the cycle continues, not because they're perfect, but because your mind keeps showing you the version of them you wish was real. Now let's talk about the part that actually traps you, because this isn't just emotional, it's neurological. What you're experiencing is very close to addiction, not to the person, but to the pattern they created. When they disappear, your brain reacts. You feel anxious. You start overthinking. You check your phone more often. And one question keeps coming back. What happened? The longer they stay distant, the stronger that feeling gets. Then suddenly they return. A message, a call, a small moment of attention, and everything changes. The anxiety fades. The stress drops. You feel relief. And your brain registers that moment as a reward. This is where it becomes dangerous, because your brain starts to associate that person with relief, even though they were the reason you felt bad in the first place. So now, you're not just attached to them, you're depending on them to feel okay again. And that creates a loop. They pull away, and you feel bad. They come back, and you feel good. And your brain starts chasing that feeling again and again That's why walking away feels so hard, because it doesn't feel like losing a person. It feels like losing the only thing that made you feel better, even if it was temporary, even if it came with pain. This is where most people get confused. They think if it feels this strong, it must be real. But that's not true. Intensity is not love. It's instability. Healthy connection doesn't feel like this. It doesn't make you anxious one day and relieved the next. It doesn't keep you guessing. It doesn't make you feel like you're always waiting, but your brain got used to that pattern. So now calm feels unfamiliar, consistency feels strange, and chaos feels like connection. And until you realize that, you'll keep going back, not because they're right for you, but because your brain is still chasing that relief. Now here's the part that gets very real. At some point, this stops being about them, and it becomes about you. Because once you see the pattern, you have a choice. And that choice is uncomfortable. You can keep hoping, or you can start accepting. And most people choose hope. Not because it makes sense, but because it feels easier. Hope tells you they might change. Hope tells you things might work out. Hope tells you to wait just a little longer. But reality says something else. Reality shows you their actions. Reality shows you the inconsistency. Reality shows you how you actually feel most of the time. And deep down, you already know which one is true. But accepting that truth means something difficult. It means admitting that you stayed longer than you should have. It means admitting that you ignored things you shouldn't have ignored. And it means admitting that you gave your time and energy to the wrong person. And that hurts. So instead of accepting it, you stay. You try harder. You become more patient. You lower your expectations. You tell yourself that if you just do things differently, it will work. But the truth is simple. You can't fix a dynamic that was never stable. No matter how much effort you give, it won't turn into something healthy. Because the problem was never your effort. It was the pattern itself. And the moment you realize that something shifts, you stop asking why they are like this, and you start asking why you accepted it. And that question changes everything. Because now the focus is on you, your standards, your boundaries, your self-respect. And this is where growth begins, not when they change, but when you do. Because the moment you stop chasing confusion, you start choosing clarity. And the moment you stop accepting inconsistency, you start demanding respect. And that's when you finally break the cycle. Not because you stopped caring, but because you started choosing yourself. Before we go any further, I want to say something quickly. Most people who watch these videos don't follow. So if you're still here and this is hitting you, take a second to follow. It really helps. Now let's continue. There's one more thing you need to understand. And this might be the hardest part to accept. You're not just holding on to them. You're holding on to what you felt with them, the way they made you feel in certain moments, the way everything seemed right, even if it didn't last. Those moments felt real, and they mattered to you. And that's exactly why it's so hard to let go, because it doesn't feel like you're leaving a person. It feels like you're leaving a feeling, and that feeling meant something. But here's the truth. A feeling is not enough to build something real. Real connection is not about moments. It's about consistency. It's about showing up, even when it's not easy. It's about stability, not confusion. And if you look at the full picture, not just the good parts, you already know what this was. It was temporary. It was inconsistent. It gave you something for a moment, and then took it away just as fast. And deep down, you felt that every time something didn't sit right, every time you questioned their intentions, every time you had to convince yourself that it was okay, you felt it. You just didn't want to listen to it, because listening to it would have meant walking away sooner. And now you're here, still thinking about it, still trying to understand it, still holding on to something that was never stable enough to stay. The truth is simple. You're not stuck because you don't know. You're just stuck because you haven't fully accepted what you already know. And once you accept that, everything starts to change. You're not confused anymore. You're aware, and awareness changes everything. Because once you see the pattern clearly, you can't unsee it. You start noticing everything. The inconsistency, the emotional ups and downs, the way you kept giving more than you were receiving. And slowly, something shifts inside you. You stop wondering if they'll come back. You stop checking your phone the same way. Not because you stopped caring instantly, but because you started seeing the truth. And the truth removes the illusion, and without the illusion, the attachment loses its power. This is the moment most people avoid, because this is where you have to choose. You either go back to what feels familiar, or you walk away towards something healthier. And choosing yourself is not easy, because it means letting go of what you hoped this could be. It means accepting that it didn't become what you wanted, but it also means something important. It means you finally stop settling. You stop accepting confusion as connection. You stop accepting inconsistency as effort. And you stop calling something love that was never stable enough to grow. Because real love doesn't feel like this. It doesn't make you question your worth. It doesn't make you feel anxious all the time. And it doesn't come and go, depending on someone's mood. Real love is clear, it's consistent, and it's calm. And once you experience that, you realize something. Well, you were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong person. And that's the shift. You're not losing them. You're finally seeing them for who they are. And once you see that clearly, letting go doesn't feel like losing anymore. It feels like freedom, because you're not leaving something good behind. You're leaving something that was holding you back. And once you let go of that, you create space for something real. And that's when everything changes.